Welcome to the Speak the Language podcast. Today is Monday, December the 6th. We are back in the office for a short while. We actually leave here and go straight back up to Kudzu, which is a pretty common procedure for this time of year.
Yep. Monday, head up there. Got a front coming through right now. So.
Friday come back. Yeah, it's supposed to be stormy for a little bit.
I just looked at the hourly, and it's supposed to be gone rain-wise by like 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And dropping 30 degrees today, or close to it.
It's be welcomed because this weekend did not feel anything like December's supposed to feel.
No. I stayed in the house most of the weekend because it was 70-something degrees, and I was looking at the cameras, which is nice. You can see what deer are doing from your house now. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it wasn't much happening.
We those cameras have been a game changer. If y'all haven't heard us, I mean, we've talked about these a pretty good bit on here, but if something works, I don't mind plugging it at all, and this thing works. So the Bushnell Cellucor 20 specifically is what we've been using, and we're not like breaking any big news talking about it because it's been a pretty broke out as very popular because it's been a very good cell camera, reliability wise.
It's affordable, and we have yet to have one tear up.
That's the key, really, is like it's either been in the cell cam world, it's either been one's affordable, but it doesn't work all that great, or it works really, really well, but you're going to have to take out a loan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Whereas like these, they're
$149.
Yeah, under $150, basically. And work extremely well. Battery life works extremely well. So, if you're looking to at least dip your toe in the water on the cell camera stuff, I would highly suggest trying those cameras out.
Yep, and you got to pay for them monthly, but it's not like it's $15 a month. If you want to really key in on that old big buck deer, I think we'll all spend $15 a month for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to start cutting corners, I mean, it's either you pay a month for Disney Plus. Don't cut your Paramount because you got to watch Yellowstone. But you either pay a month for Disney Plus or you have trail cameras. If you look at it in that respect.
I'm looking at the weather right here now, and it's 96% chance of rain up there at the camp right now. 10 a.m. is 75, 11 a.m. is 55, and then by 12 is 6. And it is 72 degrees there right now, and by 1 p.m. it is going to be 55 with 14 mile-an-hour dead north winds.
Gracious. Need to be duck hunting.
Dropping.
I tried to go duck hunting this weekend.
I saw some pics like y'all shot some.
We did.
Did y'all have a good percentage on shoot versus knockdown ratio, or...
Actually, yes.
They decoyed good?
No. I mean, yes, but here's the thing. Like, I was due for this. Like, I thought this was going to be a trip to Smashtown on the ducks because it was like, I mean, I hadn't hunted catfish ponds in years.
Yeah.
Used to do it a fairly good bit when I was younger. And like I said, we've talked about this before. It's been years. I remember we did an episode where we talked about that whole trash duck mentality that I just don't buy into. But I know some guys that you mentioned going to, fish ponds and shooting ringnecks and shovelers. They're like, I don't even want to waste my time. But I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it, And
it's a shooting sport.
Yeah. But, I mean, I even went there. We'd gone there, Brad and I, for what we're talking about, y'all, it's another, as y'all have heard us talk about, we've kind of been adding on little bits to Kudzu here and there. Well, we're calling it, another addition to Kudzu that we got. And Brad and I went out there deer hunting, and there was a good chunk of ducks out there, ringnecks and shovelers mostly, a couple gadwall. And when I say a couple, I mean like I saw 12, whereas like the vast majority of ringnecks and shovelers. And I was like, I want to come out here this weekend and shoot them. Brad was like, have at it. Even the day before Friday, when I was on the way back from camp, headed to my house, I swung through there and looked. They were all primarily in one pond, in one corner. And I said, I got you. I have a plan. Yeah. So we go out there Saturday morning, And granted, like, the weather did take like a hard turn. That probably didn't help, even with those ducks.
It was so humid.
So humid and
and
hot. Yeah. We didn't have at day, like, we didn't, what ducks we did see, which at first light I didn't see as many as I'd been seeing, but not even the first duck even studied where we were at. I was like, well, this is not good. It's not good at all. Not even remotely good. So we moved, and then you want to talk about just feeling like a genius. Like, I'd already had to, like, do some serious redneck rigging on the decoys that I had, because the decoys that I had been previously used at Cottonmouth, where we're hunting that shallow stuff.
I had 18-inch leaders on them.
So I had to do some rigging. Basically, what I did is take another 18-inch rigging and clip it on the bottom of it. So now I got 2 egg weights, but now I've got longer cord.
Yeah.
Where at this end of the catfish ponds, it worked fine. When I was in a hurry and walked down the other end, I just chucked them out there. Well, it was deeper on that side. So now my decoys are just drifting out into that. I'm like, and that, my poor father had not duck hunted since the 80s. And I'm like, I wanted to give him a good hunt. And it was just not working out. But we stuck it out there long enough. We ended up, I think we shot like 4 ducks. Which I was talking to Brad about it, because I sent that picture to Brad, and I was like, it was really a reminder of how, kind of like a take back and have some perspective, because I was sitting there going like, man, I wish we'd have killed more, whereas like Pop was tickled, just having a blast. We did have at one point, we had like just a big, probably a group of like, I don't know, 50 ringneck ducks. I mean, they landed on the other side of the pond where we couldn't really cut into them good, but you know how that big old group like that, when they come sit down, you can hear their wings and stuff. And Dad was like, I haven't heard that sound in 20 years, so it was fun. Got to work Knox, and I was due for it. I've been on the better side of lucky so far this hunting season, between elk season and the pheasant trip went good, and then I had a really good spec hunt a few weeks ago. It just seemed right for me to go to a hunt that's supposed to be a one where you just burn your barrel and have fun shooting and struggle.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this makes sense. But it was fun. I mean, I had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast is brought to you by OnX Hunt, the app that has completely changed the game and helps you increase your success rates every time you go out in the field. It's something that we legitimately use every single day. Doesn't matter if we're talking elk hunting, deer hunting, duck hunting, upland hunting, bass fishing, it does not matter. We don't go a day without using OnX Hunt. Public and private land boundaries, the new crop filters, the new 3D mapping system. There is not a time where OnX cannot help you, and they update it all the time, which helps you increase your success rates. So go and check out the OnX Hunt app today. Use the promo code PRIMOS20 to get 20% off your OnX Hunt membership.
Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, man, if anyone in our actual crew was here and saw me pull that stunt with the decoys and them just go floating off in the water, like, I would not have caught any slack.
Was it too deep to wade in there?
Well, I got them all, but when I got them, when the wind pushed them all the way back to the other side of the pond. So, the first time when they started going, I was like, oh, no, it's too deep. So I went to go get them. I was like, I can't go get them.
Yeah.
And I was wearing, my waders came up to my armpits. That's how deep it was.
It was like 6 foot.
Yeah. I was ill prepared. But fun hunt, fun time. We actually, like I said, we shot well, truly. Like, I don't think we let too many get past us.
Nice.
But, you didn't do nothing hunting-wise this weekend, huh?
Nope. Did not do anything. I hung out at the house and spent time with my girls.
Yeah.
We did have a good week last week at Kudzu, though, considering the weather.
Yeah.
We Slade killed a really nice management buck. I mean, perfect what you want to take out. Just not much to him at all as far as antlers, and a 3.5-year-old deer. So at that point, with our DMAP criteria for that age and under a certain size, you can take them out for management purposes.
Yeah.
And the people think, like, here's one thing that I want to kind of touch on with that is, like, by shooting that deer, you're not really doing anything to the genetics of the herd.
Oh, you decided to go down that hole. I'm listening. You're right. I'm listening. Yeah.
What the advantage of it is you're taking a mouth off the table, and a lot of times those deer like that, they're kind of the bully, and you're opening up room for another potentially nicer deer to come in. Not downplaying the deer. He's a good deer. I'm happy with him. Slade's happy with him. Everybody's happy with him.
Yeah.
That's kind of the gist of why you do that, is taking that mouth off the table plus opening up room for another buck to come in.
What you definitely do hear a lot, which is what you were pointing out, is you say folks go, yeah, we need to get him out, don't want him breeding any more does and bringing more deer like him. You're like, well, that's not really
that's not a realistic goal.
Yeah.
It's been proven too many times by biologists.
Where's that? There's like a big study come out of, I think it was in Texas, where they were talking about culling, quote unquote, and the effect it had on genetics.
Yeah, I forget how big that ranch was, but it was huge, and they divided it into, I think, 4 different parcels, and they were like huge sections, like over 5,000 acre sections. And I don't remember exactly all the details, so I'm probably finna butcher this, but one section they managed tremendously really hard, like taking out all these quote-unquote cull bucks, at an early age. Like if they wop-sided on one side or another, they're gone.
Yeah.
One side they shot strictly just age. And one side, I forget, it was several different rotations what they were doing in these, they call them pastures out there, like big chunks of land.
Yeah.
And they said over a course of like 3 or 4 or 5 years, I don't remember what it was, the pasture that they sure enough just culled every buck they thought.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like they saw no difference 4 years later in that field, in that area, but the pasture that they were shooting just strictly age is the one that did the best.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can't wait. There was a whole somebody, not us. Somebody did a whole podcast talking about that, where they interviewed the dude who managed that ranch.
Yeah, it was quite interesting.
And I can't remember if I could figure out where that was. I would share it, but I can't remember who did that podcast.
But the gist of it was like you can't change your genetics.
Yeah, it might have been MSU Deer Lab, maybe
it was, but that was the gist of it. It's like you cannot shoot out genetics.
Yeah. So when you hear
on a free range place.
Yeah.
Now I think you can manipulate it if it's controlled.
Like a fence situation.
And I think you can manipulate it in a way. Now I don't think you can, just make it better and better every year. It takes a long, long time, from what I've been told. So.
I don't know.
Yep, but that was just going to touch on that for a minute. Just to hopefully help somebody.
That's
kind of understanding.
It's a cull buck.
Yep.
Yeah. You do see that word thrown around a lot.
Yeah, like a 2-year-old 6-point that's got
a
three on one side and a spike on the other.
He's never going to be anything. He's never going to be right. So there was
a buddy of mine. He actually posted this on Facebook this morning. He shot a buck that he'd been trying to hunt for several years, and he had trail camera pictures of him every year. I mean, the deer was like 6-7 years old when he killed it this morning or yesterday, whenever it was. But he had trail camera pictures of it from like a 3-year-old, like when you can really start telling the
significant tines and stuff. Yeah.
And the deer was a 7-point. Just like he's pretty much a big 6. He had like one little bitty 3 at a 3-year-old. And he killed him this week, and he was like a really nice 9-point, but he still had the same characteristics. I mean, it was the same deer, 100%.
You could tell from like his frame and stuff.
Yeah, but he put on so much. Like, that's just kind of show you don't ever know what they're going to end up being until you let them get old.
Yeah. I think it was Wyatt from Swamp Donkey who told me something about the vast majority of white-tailed deer at 4 years old, the majority at 4 years old, they're like 96% developed on their rack.
Like points-wise and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
typically.
That's true. That's what, I've heard that from a couple of biologists. Yeah. Like, you'll be able to see the characteristics of them at like 3. Most of the time they got their primary points on at 3.
Yeah.
Now, they may put on, an extra 4 or something or wop-sided from then on out, but pretty much it's all there.
Yeah, typically.
But
then you'll have your outliers, like your buddies you're talking about, where he put on, 2 more points at 7 years old.
2 more mainframe, like they put on like G3s and G4s, on one side. So.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, what else did we do? We had Brad decided to shoot a deer in the Grand Canyon. We did that.
We name of the Kudzu Bluff finally came into play with us. He shot one off the side of the bluff.
Mm-hmm.
We had to winch it out.
Literally.
I mean, we drug it maybe 75, 80 yards to where we could get a rope and a winch to it. And then I'm very thankful for a winch, because that would have been way harder trying to drag the deer. It probably would have ended up quartering him up. Just saying that, because that's what I would have done if I didn't have the winch to pull him out with the Polaris.
Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting.
Y'all can't, like, if you haven't seen what we're talking about in the Bluffs, like, I realize for most parts, like, if me growing up in central Mississippi, I can only imagine if I heard someone describing stuff like this, I would be like, I would have heard it, but I wouldn't have really heard it. I'd be like, there's no way it's that steep, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this is as steep or steeper than a lot of, like, snow slopes, like where you go skiing.
Yeah. Well, it's like, so I don't know if, because we put the story, like, we put an Instagram story up of Jimmy, because no one was more wound up about this ordeal of Brad shooting a deer that died in that canyon. No one was more wound up than Jimmy Primos. Jimmy thought that was the funniest thing. And that Instagram story, he's standing on the edge of the bluff, and I'm filming on my phone these three little orange vests, which was you, Brad, and Troy, working to get to the deer far enough to where we could reach him with a winch cable. And so Jimmy's standing on the edge talking about that, like, if either of us, like, if I took a step off that bluff and fell, I'd break a leg probably, at least.
No,
like
where y'all were standing, we guesstimated it's at least a 60-foot drop.
Yeah.
Like, straight down, like
serious.
Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no roll to it. It's a cliff.
Yeah. Which was a cool hunt. I think Brad rattled him in.
Yep.
That was him and Troy hunting. And it's getting to be, like I said, we talked about this last week. Like, we started, did you see any, like, kind of ruddy type stuff?
It was slow for Jimmy and I.
Gotcha. Well, Brad and I saw, like, the first evening that we hunted, we saw a 3.5-year-old 8-point, and he was bumping a doe around. Mm-hmm. Like, he was out there eating for the longest time, and all of a sudden we were like, something's got his attention. And he dipped back off right in the edge of the woods. We could see him, I mean, not like chasing, but
he aggravated.
Just nosing her around, and we were like, yeah, it's getting there.
He is wanting it to happen, but she is not.
Yeah, she was not into it, man.
It's any day now it ought to start breaking loose. Starting to see that sure enough, bucks chasing does, like pursuing them hard.
Well, I would imagine with this hard front we got coming through, it's a fair chance.
Tomorrow, next day should be good.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of, like, this afternoon, just because from just me hunting over the years, seems like the day after a front comes through is usually the best. But you don't ever know. It may get them up on their feet since it's like a 30-degree drop from what it's been for the last week.
Got to go.
Oh, yeah, we going.
I'll tell you the funniest, most frustrating story from last week that continues and carries over into this week. So we have a buck. Again, it's like the cell cam thing, like, also adds to the anticipation, because you can check it while you're hunting. You can look and see what's going on at other spots, kind of, sort of, you know. And so we had this very nice 8-point deer coming through one of our food plots. You know what deer I'm talking about.
Yep.
And we wanted to hunt him. I mean, he's been consistent in this food plot morning and evening. And we were kept waiting because we didn't have a wind that we needed, didn't have the wind. Finally, we get a wind that would work if we went in there and climbed. And so Brad and I go slipping in there, try to be as quiet as we can. We have to dip off the ridge, down this bluff to circle around to get to this tree where we're going to climb. We had to get so high up in the tree because the tree that we climbed is
down the bluff a bit.
Yeah, down the bluff a bit. So I had to climb so high and then untie my ropes that had my camera stuff attached to it and hand it to Brad so I could climb higher. Like we had to, and then so we get up there in this tree, and then I end up seeing the deer. I watched that buck for half an hour, and Brad never could see him.
Is he as good as he looks like on
He's a good deer.
trail camera?
He's a very good deer.
He looks huge on trail camera.
He's a very good deer. He's a very large deer. He's the biggest deer I've seen there so far.
Yeah.
For sure. That I've physically laid eyes on.
Big old frame deer.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't got a ton of mass, but he's huge framed.
Yeah. And what he's got going why the way we kind of got ourselves into that situation is there's a water oak tree kind of off the edge of that ridge road. And for whatever reason, just the way luck had it that night, because the camera that we've got out there is not on that. It's close to that acorn tree, but it ain't on it.
Yeah.
It's pointed towards the food plot. And if I hadn't seen him, you would think like maybe we bumped him going in. You know, what's the deal? Because he's been in here so consistently. Well, he never even attempted to walk through that food plot. He was just going to town on those acorns. And Brad was like, "Where is he? Do you see him? Where?" I'm like, "Yeah, I see him. He's right there. Like, why can't you?" Like I could have shot him from up there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I looking at him.
So you got some video of him?
Nope.
Huh?
You couldn't get the camera on him. Like I had
you must have been like pushing out from the tree or something, some weird position.
Yeah, and then like the way I had to get so high in the tree, like I could not physically get the climber any higher because it started to split. Like the tree started splitting these separate branches, and where the camera was, I couldn't. There was like one of those big branch. I mean, if I took the camera off the arm, I could have filmed him through some of that stuff. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But there was a doe and a yearling in the food plot, and I didn't want to be moving around all that, So, yeah, I have no footage of him. I can just go off my word that I saw him.
You're lying.
Yeah, it might be. But, yeah, we tried to go in there the next morning and turkey hunt him with Jimmy. That didn't work. And then the next day, Brad and I go hunting somewhere else that afternoon.
He came through there at 4:30.
And you sent us a picture of him walking through the food plot. So we got that going for us. That was kind of frustrating.
Cat and mouse. He zigs and we zag.
Mm-hmm.
We zag and he zigs.
Yeah.
He didn't get old for no reason.
No. He looks every bit of
At least 4.
4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
But that's all we got, really. Like I'm looking towards the week very optimistically based off of how last week went.
Yeah, me too.
I know Jimmy's wanting to pull trigger on something some kind of bad, and I'd like to see him do it.
Yeah. This week, it's been a year since he shot a buck.
Yeah.
So he's itching.
And he was very, very quick to remind us of that, too.
Yeah.
He's like, I need a buck. It's been about a year.
You got to scratch that itch.
I can relate. But anyhow, is there anything I'm forgetting?
Nothing other than we got throwbacks going on.
Because we're actually running a little bit on the short side of this podcast this week.
Yeah, we got YouTube stuff that's still coming out there, the throwback videos. We got hopefully some newer stuff coming out here in the next month or so, and Outdoor Channel TV shows coming on every week from last year at Kudzu Bluffs and Swamp Donkey and everything we did.
Which we're about to talking about new shows.
They'll be coming out first week of January.
Here directly. It's already December.
About another month, we'll start having new shows coming on Outdoor Channel.
You know what I thought about this morning? It's December, right?
Uh-huh.
You got December, January, February, and then it's turkey season again.
Yep, 4 months.
That's close.
Not too long.
Close.
Way on the downhill side of it.
Yeah. Primos YouTube Classics. I'm not going to delve into it too much because we talked about this before we started recording. There's some YouTube exclusive content that we need to be uploading.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just leave it at that for now. We'd like to get. We're trying to get aimed more to where we can put stuff that's just exclusive YouTube stuff, which we've done a little bit of that before, but I want to do more. YouTube content, Outdoor Channel. Site, there's still holiday deals going on at primos.com. I know you can get discounts on the blinds and stuff like that. I think that's it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that is it. We'll wrap this week up.
Yep, we need to get on the road and get to Kudzu anyway.
Head north, get up to Kudzu, and thundering out there already. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch y'all back here next week, and thank you, as always, for listening to the Speak the Language podcast.